athletes, you can get that stuff in, but do it in a way that's, I love the Dynamite Kid. If you watch anything on YouTube with the Dynamite Kid in Japan or anything like that, he does the exact same innovator. He does the exact same stuff you see anybody on
Hello?
AEW doing. But
Hello?
Yeah, hello? Stevie Ray, welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing?
What's it? I'm good, man.
Well, good. Welcome to UE Talk, man. We had to bring it back to tonight for you, bro.
Good. Very good.
Can you hear us pretty well? Okay. Well, we got Daryl.
Yeah.
Daryl, say hello to him, and Lakeisha, please say hello.
Hey.
hello, Stevie Ray, big fan here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Long time. I remember watching Global back in the day. So Ebony Experience, I go all the way back.
I hear you. That was a long time ago. That
Now, we were
was
just
a long
talking
time
about.
ago.
Now, we were just talking about your Hall of Fame induction. How did it feel when you got inducted into the Hall of Fame last year, man?
I mean, it was a great honor. It was a great honor. And it was cool, man. It was a lot of work, though. I didn't know I was going to be working that much for like 4 or 5 days, but it was cool, man. It was cool. I had a good time.
Now prior to that, I was going to jump in. Prior to that, had you done other work with WWE prior to the Hall of Fame? I know, you weren't active, but as a wrestler, but behind the scenes.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I've been on a legend contract for several years.
Sweet. How come they didn't get you in the game? Well, I wanted to get you in 2K19, 2K20.
I don't even keep up with them. I don't know when I'm in them and when I'm not. Because I've never played video games in my life, and I don't really keep up with, if I'm in a game or not. You know what I'm saying? Someone usually tells me, but I don't even know when the games come out, and I really just don't pay attention to anything that's got anything to do with professional wrestling. Especially stuff like that. That's for kids. If I'm in it, send me the check.
Yeah, you might want to start keeping up with that and make sure you get your royalty checks.
Well, the checks come automatically. I don't have to keep up with them to get the check. They come automatically.
That's what's going on, man. Now, I know you're semi-retired because I know you and Book did a show not too long, but was it 6 months or a year ago at Reality of Wrestling? True?
Yeah. That's true.
They even have rumors, right?
So how was that?
Okay.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I was just gonna say they had some rumors that you and Booker T might be coming back to to do something. Was there any truth to that?
I don't pay attention to rumors, brother.
That's good to hear.
You might hear rumors of me. You might hear rumors of me doing anything. If I didn't say it, then I don't pay attention to it. If I got something to say, you will see it on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, my podcast or something. If I don't say it, don't pay attention to it.
Now, speaking of your podcast, could you let our listeners know exactly the name of your podcast and where they can listen to it at?
Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray. My old podcast was called Stand Up for Greatness, but I'm doing I'm starting a new podcast. Well, actually, I've been doing some of this stuff on YouTube, but I'm getting ready. I just signed a contract with the Rome Network, and they're going to be taking care of all of that and putting my podcast out there on all the outlets and stuff like that. And I'm going to be on Twitter and Patreon.
Okay, good to hear.
Yeah.
Now the other
and I also do another part. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Last week, Dark Side of the Ring came on with Chris Benoit. I know you was in WCW with Chris Benoit. Chance to take a look at it, the documentary, and what you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good documentary. For all intensive purposes of entertainment, very good.
Okay. So, and I don't want you to, you don't have to bash anybody or whatever, but knowing Chris Benoit and what happened, like, did you ever expect anything like that to happen with him, or for you it was out of the blue too, same way like everybody else?
I'm sorry, what was that again? I didn't understand you.
Oh, I was saying, knowing Chris Benoit, because I know you worked with him in WCW, did you expect anything like that, or was he not the type of guy when you guys were working together in the company?
I mean, to be honest about it, does anybody actually expect anything like that? I mean, unless you're the kind of person that's a known serial killer, how would me or anybody else expect something like that out of another human being that you know personally? Yeah. But I think I know what you're trying to ask, but if you're asking if Chris Benoit is the kind of person that would kill somebody, I don't know if I know of anybody kind of person that would kill somebody. I don't know.
I get you.
To be honest, I know.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, I was saying, well, before you came on, let's talk about something. We were talking about WrestleMania this week, how they're gonna do it without any fans. So I know you said you watched a couple of shows, and they're not having the fans because of what's going on. But how was it to receive that, to watch it as a viewer without any fans?
Really and truly, brother, I'm the last guy to ask about that because I don't watch WrestleManias anyway. From a fan's perspective, I think that's something you need to go ask a fan that spends money on stuff like that, because I don't. So I don't know, and I really don't know, and I really could care less, because even the WrestleManias I've been at, I didn't even watch them. I was just there because I had to be there. But a lot of times you got to realize, wrestling companies are still a business. A lot of people just look at the wrestling. The wrestlers are just performers. That's $1 billion business, and they got 10,000 companies and different people attached to it. Some things is beyond their control. They can't get out of contracts for sponsors, this, that, and the other, that them paid for television time, that them paid for advertising, so things like that. So a lot of things are just bigger than the show itself. It's just big business. And in big business, the show must go on.
Right. That's right.
To that point, like if younger, wrestlers, up and coming, kids come to you for advice, is there anything that you kind of give them that says, hey, if you're getting started in this business, this is what I would tell you to do or look out for?
You know what I tell young guys that's coming up? If you don't love it, don't do it. Because if you're getting into it just to be famous or so on and so forth, you ain't going to make it in the first place. Wrestling is entertainment business, period, is a hard business. Not just wrestling. Wrestling is a part of the tentacles of the entertainment business. And how many people we see in the entertainment business self-destruct? A lot of them you know, a lot of them you don't know. And this has been going on for a zillion years. And the professional wrestling business ain't no different than a lot of the entertainment business, man. It's not what people make it out to be. It can be great if you got the mind for it. If you don't have the mind for it, it's going to eat you alive, and you're not going to make it in the first place. You better love it. And when I say love, And how many times have you ever heard the old adage, you got to sacrifice to be successful at anything? What are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And like you were talking about entertainment, I know you also work with like some musicians in your area too, right?
I'm sorry. Work with what?
You work with like some local artists, musical artists as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, I've been working with a bunch of different artists and different things for, I don't know, 30 years, 30 something years. So I've been around the entertainment business a long time, way before I got into the professional wrestling business. That's why when I got into the professional wrestling business, I had already talked to many people that had been in the industry. So I knew what to expect when I got into it. So it didn't affect me like it affected a lot of other people.
Yeah. That's definitely a good thing to hear, man. Because I know a lot of people, like you said, they get eaten up by the entertainment industry. You know, and you guys stay strong for so many years. You know, so I gotta ask you, how's your brother,
that's if you make it. He's good. My brother still works for Vince.
Yeah. I know he's still doing his thing over there, man. Still doing his thing.
Yeah, my brother.
So I see
my brother still works for Vince.
Over there. Now, do you help train down there at Reality of Wrestling? I said, do you help train down there also at Reality of Wrestling?
Not anymore. We got guys that do that now.
Okay.
Yeah, we got guys that do. You hire people to do that.
Now, when you broke in, was it, as far as wrestling goes, was it something that you were a fan of wrestling, or is it just kind of, you saw an opportunity and took it? Was it something like a dream to do it, or how did you really get involved in it, and how was your passion for it?
Actually, I've been a fan of wrestling my whole life. Actually, I'm a historian. I'm a historian of a lot of things, but wrestling was just something. I got had an opportunity to try. I never looked at it like something I wanted to have a career at or anything like that. I already had a career when I got into professional wrestling. I already had my own security and bodyguard companies. I didn't need professional wrestling, but I just, I was always a fan of anything physical. I would always try, what I'm saying, like bodybuilding, boxing, karate. I'll try anything. I never thought it would go anywhere. I just wanted to try it. And, 30 years later, 31 years later, that's what happened,
Now, as a historian, like who are you fans of, like, or a fan of, like who, kind of growing up, if you said, hey, I want to be this guy,
be honest, I ain't never wanted to be like anybody, to be honest. I'm fans of people, but I never want to be like anybody. To be like somebody, that means you want to grow up to be like them and be a professional wrestler. That never was a dream of mine. But I've been fans of a zillion people, man. I'm just a fan of professional wrestling, period.
Well, I got to ask you this. Now we finally got a lot more brothers in the business. I know when you broke in, it wasn't a whole lot of us, a lot of brothers in the business. What do you think about the progression now that finally letting us, a lot of us in the business, man? Well, we getting in the business. I should say let us in, getting in the business.
But in all actuality, there were more prominent professional wrestlers that was African American yesterday than there are today. The only thing is, what you see today is two companies, or a couple of companies here and there. Back in the day, you had 20, 25, 27 territories between Canada and the United States. And each one of them had, African-American wrestlers. See, that's the part people don't know anything about. So there were many professional wrestlers, dating all the way back to the 50s and 60s, probably even beyond that. What you're seeing today is nothing. So in all actuality, and with all due respect, I don't even know how you could say something like that.
I get it. You probably right. You're right. You're definitely right, man. Because I know we did have some of the day, but I guess now because we got two companies on TV, it does try to showcase them a little bit more. But you're absolutely right because I know we did have some in the regional area.
I mean, you take Bobby Lashley, the New Day, and this new tag team that just came out. What else do you have in WWE other than R-Truth doing the old slapstick stuff that they've been making us do for years? That's a lot of people.
Right.
And that's a good point. You know, how do you feel about that? Like in WWE, almost every wrestler has to sing or dance.
That's not a WWE thing. That is a professional wrestling thing. If that makes sense. Professional wrestling always has looked at the African American in a character type way, in a stereotypical type way. That is how white America looks at you when you walk down the street. So professional wrestling is not going to be any different. Even though you could be a banker, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be this, that, and the other. But on a grand scale, white people look at you to sing and dance and entertain.
Yeah,
so just because the moniker,
No, because because if I'm not mistaken, when you guys originally came into WCW, they try to have Colonel Parker do some type of crazy racist gimmick with y'all, right?
Actually, no. And that's a misconception that so many people have twisted, turned inside out, inverted. And that's how lore stuff in historic lore gets started when people don't know what they're talking about. To be honest. Me and my brother was having a tryout match. Does anybody know? Do any of you guys know what a tryout match is?
Oh,
okay, if you don't know, I'll tell you. Okay. A tryout match is a dark match. A dark match is when you go out and work in front of people, but the cameras are not on. The night in Atlanta, we went to do a dark match. Colonel Parker didn't even supposed to be out there with us. And somebody told him to come out with us. And Colonel Parker was saying, hey, I don't supposed to go out with these guys. He was working that night with the people he was working with. When they cut the cameras back on, he was working because they were doing a TV taping. Colonel Parker came out with us and with his white suit on and all that. And me and my brother came out to do our dark match. We hadn't even had anything in stone yet. This was just a dark match. We weren't Harlem Heat. If you see what I'm saying, we had to come in and prove ourselves like a lot of people do. It wasn't like it is today where somebody package you up, put all this fancy stuff on you and throw you out there and you either sink or swim. It wasn't like that back in those days. So we went out and did our dark match and Colonel Parker came out with us. And then so everybody looked at the picture and go, what the fuck is this? If you see what I'm saying. That's how that whole thing went down. And that's what I'm saying. I've been hearing this for years of people saying like they were there. Oh, they did this, they did that. No, it was just a big misunderstanding. That's what it was. And I'm like, I didn't really know it got to the masses the way it did because it was a dark match. It's not even on. Have you seen the match?
I think that the most I saw was a steal or something on YouTube.
I mean, has anybody seen the match? Because I've never seen it. How are you going to see it? It was never even taped.
Now, when you guys started, you transitioned to Sherry from was Colonel Parker with you guys for a while, and then you transitioned to Sherry, or was it once they established you?
We never.
Okay.
What is it about? Okay. What is it about plain English that I'm not really relaying to you right now?
I think I got confused because I know later Sherry and Colonel Parker kind of like hooked up, right? So I think that was years later.
That was 2-3 years later.
Yeah.
Colonel Parker was an angle that we were doing with him later on. He was already managing other people, so I really don't understand the question.
I think he was just asking you. He was asking about Sherry Martel was your manager.
Of course.
How was that working with Sherry? Yeah, how was that working with Sherry?
Great. It was great. It was great. I mean, Sherry is a worker. Sherry is a real worker. She's not some pretty face that you see nowadays, or even back in those days, where they just take somebody and put them with somebody. We didn't want that, because they were even trying to audition other guys, and we was telling them, we don't want a manager. That's another one of these cliches where white people look at black people and go, we need somebody to talk for them. I don't need nobody on earth to talk for me. I know how to talk. That was one of the things I went to school for, to learn how to talk. I used to DJ and work in radio, so I know how to talk. But by the mere fact that in the medulla of their brains, they figure this is what you do with the African American wrestler, and we wasn't having it. So one day, I think Sheridan was doing the angle with Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, and one day we saw Sherry at one of our TV tapings, and she was like, "Hey, I heard y'all was looking for a manager." I said, "No, they looking, WCW looking for a manager. We not. We just trying to figure out how to tell them we're not doing that. We just want to be who we are." And then she was like, "Well, what if I was your manager?" And we thought she was kidding. And we were like, "Word?" And she was like, "Yeah, I think it'd be fun." And me and my brother looked at each other and was like, "Hell yeah, that works." And then we just started talking and putting things together. Then we went to the office and said, "Hey, this is what we want to do." And they was like, "Okay, cool." But like we always would say, well, you're not a manager. You're part of the team.
Yeah,
that's why we called her. That's why we called her Sister Sherry, not Sensational Sherry.
For sure. Well, you know what? Like I said, we've been having a great time talking with you, Daryl. If you want to ask him one more question before we close out, man, because we got to get ready to close the show out. But if you want to hit him with one more thing right quick.
I guess, oh boy, one last thing. You know, when you guys had such great competition in WCW, was there thoughts about going to the WWE? You know, even though I'm glad you didn't, because I thought that from a tag team point of view, they had the best competition out there, and you had the best matches. But what did you guys ever think about WWE? Did anything almost come to play with going to the other side?
Actually, you're funny you bring that up, because we were just waiting for our contracts to go out, and we had already accomplished all we could accomplish in WCW, and we were like, well, hey, let's go to WWE as soon as our contracts were up. And actually, we were talking to WWE through a liaison, and kind of going over some of the stipulations and stuff that we wanted if we signed and stuff like that, because we couldn't legally talk to them because we were still under contract. So we were talking through a go-between. I can't mention who it was, but we were talking through a go-between. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if WCW got light of it or whatever. And one day they pulled us in the office and said, we're tearing you guys' contracts up, and we're going to sign you for this, and we're going to give you this, and we're going to give you, stuff we didn't even negotiate for. You know, it was like,
yes,
okay, you know what I'm saying? It was like three times the money that we were making. First class seats on the airplane, hotel, rent a car. We didn't even have nothing else to negotiate. We didn't. Certain amount of days off per year, all this stuff. So that's why we end up staying in WCW.
Hey, don't blame you one bit, man. Don't blame you one bit.
No, I'm just answering his question, man.
Don't blame you one bit. But I do want to say thank you for coming on the show, and I do got to also say I loved it when you was the leader of the NWO Black and White. We loved all that, man, and we really do love all the work that you've done for this business. Us as fans watching it, understand we love the fact that we saw somebody that looked like us doing their thing on TV and just being special with it, man. So I want to say special salute to you, all right?
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man, and you know, no problem, brother. Appreciate you guys.
And if you want to say right quick one more time, what you got coming before we let you go, so they can check out.
Like I say, man, just stay tuned for Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray. Should be coming in the next week or two. I say no more than a couple of weeks. And brother, it's going to be a nightly show Monday through Thursday. I also do a podcast with Vince Russo called Black and White. That drops every Thursday. And I also do another podcast with a friend of mine, Avi Klein, and that's a podcast called Wrestling with History. So keep your eyes open with all of that, brother. I'm super busy. And my new YouTube channel. Man, I got a lot of stuff going on there. Hey, trying to make it work, bro.
My God. Well, you know what, Stevie, once again, thank you very much for calling us in. We appreciate you, man. Go ahead and do your thing. Salute to you, my guy.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right,
thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, guys, we had some energy right there. We had WWE Hall of Famer Stevie Ray on the show, and he brought it. He gave us everything we expected from Mr. Stevie Ray. But before we go, Daryl, if you want to say a couple things right quick, because now we come into the segment, we call it Talk Yo-ish.
Okay.
Well, you can talk about anything you want to. I don't have it here. I'm sorry, I don't have it here. I don't have it with me. But it's called Talk Yo-ish. So you can talk about anything you got coming up, or because I know you got some stuff coming up with the son and everything.
Yeah.
Well, the school.
The school, yes. So,
oh
yeah, no, definitely. So I'll shout out the Canterbury Academy. That's an online school that my wife, myself, and I put together. We're something we're already doing, offering online courses to kids, particularly those that are homeschooled. So maybe you're homeschooling your kid and you're good at math, but you need somebody help in history or English or whatever. You know, that's something that our online school supports. And certainly, you know, with these days where everybody's home, it can certainly come in handy. So if you check out thecanterburyacademy.org, and you can check out what we're doing, you know, for homeschool and other events in the neighborhood.
Okay, and what you have an email address they get a hold of you at?
Yeah, thecanterburyacademy.org is probably the best one. That's the website. Check it out. The other thing that we do, or my son does, is he's a golfer. So he has golf number 4 kids. That's a drive for kids.
You know what to do. If you like that video, hit the subscribe button to check out more.